Hi, I'm Nilesh Maheshwari from Amorphous Health. Welcome to my podcast.
It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Karin Stephan. I am the co-founder and CEO of Earkick.
For years, artificial intelligence seemed like science fiction. We imagined robots automating tasks in factories, and we found that they are not capable of any creative task. But we see that AI is rapidly evolving and even entering field once it was like considered exclusively for humans, like mental health. So traditionally we relied on expert therapists to guide us through emotional struggles, taking out stress from us, etc. But today AI is emerging as a valuable tool to support mental well-being. Hello everyone. Hi, I'm Nilesh Maheshwari from Amorphous Health. Welcome to my podcast, Healthcare Musings with Nilesh. For years, artificial intelligence seemed like science fiction. We imagined robots automating tasks in factories, and we found that they are not capable of creating or any creative task. But we see that AI is rapidly evolving and even entering field once it was like considered exclusively for humans, like mental health. So traditionally, we relied on expert therapists to guide us through emotional struggles, taking out stress from us, etc. But today, AI is emerging as a valuable tool to support mental well-being. So to discuss this, joining us today is Karin, co-founder of Earkick, a company using AI to make a real difference in mental health. So, Karin, welcome to the show. Let's dive into how AI-powered solutions are changing the landscape of mental health. So, let's welcome Karin, and could you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Karin Stephan. I am the co-founder and CEO of Earkick. And Earkick is an AI-powered platform for mental health that empowers people to measure and improve their mental health in real time using cutting-edge technology to sense their mental health state, but also to intervene and support in real time.
Excellent. So, you are co-founder of Earcake. So, what inspired you to focus on mental health, and why do you believe AI can be a viable solution or tool for addressing this challenge?
It's a very good question. So, mental health is health. And mental health is, if you look around, most of the time, the differentiator between having a successful, a fulfilled, a rich life and not having it. The reason why we need to pay so much attention and why it's worth innovating for mental health is because throughout my life, I saw people not reaching their potential. It was not because of their talent. It was not because of their environment. It wasn't because of the opportunities given to them. It was mainly because of mental health. So they would struggle seemingly out of a sudden. They would drop out. They would vanish. They'd be gone for a year, and, in the end, you found out, oh, they had a burnout, or, oh, they were really struggling and nobody knew. Nobody had a clue, right? And this is so sad, not just on a personal level, not just because of the struggling, of the pain, of the tragedy that affects not only the individual, but also their families and colleagues. But it's also a huge financial burden on the personal side, on the community side, even on the social society level, right? So knowing that mental health affects or will affect 50% of youth, 50, that's 1 in 2. And that's a fact.
Oh,
It's not a fantasy, right? We have to do something, and we can do something. Now that's why it's so important. And why technology, why AI? we cannot outrun the demand right now. And we will not be able to outrun it in the future using just human support, right? I mean, I wish everyone had access to a therapist, to a counselor, to a coach, but the reality is it's only a minority, right? But everyone deserves support at any time in any challenge in life. And so technology is the only way we can close that gap that's already huge and that is widening by the day, where people, a majority of 8 billion people is in need of some kind of support. And so to close that gap, we can no longer hope to train enough professionals. We can no longer hope that people will somehow have access to a human therapist. We believe that the human therapists, coaches, counselors, they're super important. We need to keep increasing the number of those, but we also need to make sure that there are other ways to serve people, especially with the knowledge that mental health issues have a very early onset in life, and they don't necessarily start like a big problem. Start small, and we have a way to use technology to intervene early and very effectively and efficiently before people actually do need to go to the doctor, to the therapist, and have a really complex issue at hand that inhibits them from leading the life they deserve.
I think the kind of problem you are defining, where you are saying 1 out of 2 youth is suffering or would be suffering from mental stress or mental health issues. I think that would be a quite a huge number, and I think humanly it would be not possible to address each and every one. And I think if someone gets help in the early or the starting point of his mental trauma, I think that will stop him from getting more into that spiral. And I think the tools you are describing would help them in coming out or getting some help at the starting point of their that mental issue. Excellent. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Timing is everything in
timing is
mental
everything.
health.
That is yeah,
Timing
you
is
said it
everything.
right. Yeah, timing is everything. So do you think like AI can address all mental health conditions, or it is only catering to some specific issues?
Well, that's a very complex question. And let me say that AI can be of huge support in any kind of mental health issue. Now, let's look at some examples. A lot of issues like anxiety, panic disorder, also depression, also burnout, also substance abuse disorders start very small and they develop, right, over time if nothing is done. And they will also attract more problems, behavioral problems, emotional problems on the way if not treated. So in that sense, if AI enables us to identify the evolving problems early, that's one huge advantage. The other one is AI can also educate and help educate along the way, making it more, making it easier to understand where you're at and what you could possibly do. And then when it comes to chronic issues, such as, let's say, chronic diseases like schizophrenia, like even ADHD, or other things that you will have to deal with throughout your life, yes, you will have to have other support. You may have to go take medication, see doctors, etc. But on a day-to-day basis, it's still the same thing. You need encouragement. You need to know where you're at. You need to understand your patterns. You need to understand what works in your daily life and what doesn't. In other words, you need a companion. And AI can be that companion. It learns fast, it learns thoroughly, it doesn't forget. And you can use it 24/7. And that's why I would say AI in any case can support any mental health journey if done right.
Okay. So, when we talk about like AI, is it like can be used for all demographics, all age group, or not? For
Yes.
complex patient, AI can be of some help, but you need support of a specialist or therapist. Is that correct?
Well, AI needs, first of all, it's not, AI is a huge, huge topic, a huge umbrella for a lot
I
of
understand
things,
that.
right?
Yeah.
um, in an ideal world, you would have both human support, professional support, and technology support. Unfortunately, that's not the case, right? So we can use AI in many ways, but it needs to be trained right. It needs to have the right scope. It needs to be specialized for the problem at hand. And people who use it or are in touch with also need to know, the benefits, the challenges. They need to get going with it. They need to use it and not just be bystander, right? So again, AI is a tool, and the tool is only as good and as effective and as efficient as the human behind it. And so,
Hmm.
yes, AI can be incredibly helpful, incredibly supportive, incredibly, enhancing, empowering with the right concept behind it and the right people managing it.
And importantly, it can address to large number of population through the technology.
Well, technology is scalable,
Yeah,
and
that is what. Yeah.
it makes it really accessible, and it makes it really also affordable. For whatever product or service you're going to build with it. For me, AI is really the game changer when there is a real benefit on the other side to the person who's using it. In other words, technology is only really of use when the person who gets the benefit sees it as a benefit. And that's not
Def-
always the case, right? We have a lot of technology floating around that in the end doesn't really serve humanity. So, do
Yeah.
I believe AI can serve humanity? Absolutely. But is
Mhm.
it like a given? No, it's not.
It has to be a right solution for right set of people or right set of problems as well.
Yes, there are lots of things that can go wrong on that path, and there's
Definitely.
so much that can go right. So we need to focus on what we can do right and
Yeah.
avoid any pitfall, avoid just worshiping technology for technology's sake.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, like how you said, Airkick is like a companion to the person who is suffering from any kind of mental ailment. So, how this is a kind of companion? Is it on a mobile phone, or it is someone has to dial in some number? How it is working?
Yeah, let me walk you through. So all you need to do is download the app. You do not have to register. You can just download it because it's hyper private, very private. So you don't have to register. No personal data asked. And what you do once you download it, you can speak, type, or video into it, saying something to the tone of like how you're feeling or what you're thinking about. And the algorithm, the AI, picks up on the sound of your voice, on what you say, the context, on the speed of typing, how you type, how you video, right? And it does that in real time. It assesses your current mental state. And that only takes a few seconds. What does it get out of this? In the app, you will immediately see the auto detection of your emotions. So it will detect if you're anxious, or if you're frustrated, if you're angry, or if you're happy. And it will put it down in some kind of diary. It will also recognize whether your anxiety is high or okayish or low. It will also pick up on symptoms. It will pick up on what are the reasons for you feeling the way you're feeling. And it would all summarize it and have it in that diary. And based on that measurement, it also takes into consideration, how many steps you did, your exercise, how you slept, and how the weather is, right? Because those are factors that influence our mental health heavily. And so all of this together, this holistic picture is captured within seconds. And based on the current state, on what you're going through, you're going to get an answer from a little panda-shaped companion, panda, and it will immediately start speaking to you. You can have it speak in voice or have it type, whatever you choose, and it will say something about what is going on now. And it will give you actionable suggestions, a listening ear, and also a way to have this back and forth, like a chat, right? And that's how Earkick works. So even if you don't feel like you have a mental health issue, like I use it too, you would just in the morning or whenever you have a few seconds, speak into the app and say, hey, Panda, today it's raining and I just don't feel motivated to go outside and do my jogging routine. That could be what I say. And still it captures my emotions, where I'm at. And it will react and try to encourage me. Come on, Karin, last time you had the same thing when it was raining. Now you go out and you do your 10 minutes of exercise. Come back and tell me how it went. And remember, the day has a totally different, trajectory if you started out well with something that you can accomplish. These very simple things add up to a life that is well spent, is healthy, and where you're in control of your mental and physical health. And so, to your point, if I'm someone with depression or anxiety, I can speak to that companion as often as I want. I can get tips on how to manage. I can get, for example, if I'm afraid to go on stage, which actually is the case or was the case with me, seconds before you go on stage, you can have this little chat with Panda and do a breathing exercise and be reminded that last time went well or what worked last time. Because the good thing is our AI, our system has memory. So it remembers you and it remembers the context and everything you've said before. And that's the kind of support we all deserve, whether we have a mental health disorder or not, because we're always on that spectrum and we move back and forth on the mental health spectrum. And throughout life, things happen, whether it's my own fault or whether it's life that throws things at me. You may be grieving, or you may lose a job, or you may have a mean boss, or you may be in struggle in your relationship. And all that can snowball into a real problem if it's not addressed early. And the way the Panda, the algorithm, interacts with you, encourages you, explains things to you, you stay in control even when things get really rough. And that's why we made it a companion. Because no matter where you're at in your life, in your daily back and forth, you deserve support.
And this AI Panda is like invoking itself in various times of the day, or it is only when the user goes and checks out that?
Both. So, first of all, you will get a weekly report that summarizes everything that's been going on in your week. your trends, what happened, how you have felt mainly, so that you have sort of an overview of your life. That it does proactively. It will send you that report, proactively. During the day, depending on what's best for you, you'll get reminders to check in. You'll get little encouragements and nudges to do certain things. You will be reminded to follow micro routines that you decided to follow. So it's like a good friend, that would also remind you that didn't you want to go for a walk, or hey, have you been drinking enough water, or did you take care of your relationship? Things like that. You can all program them into the app and be reminded exactly the way that suits you best. So AI helps you strike a balance between having this proactive kind of nudging support, but also not having too much. Just like a good friend who knows you, who knows how you tick. You like a lot of
Yeah.
reminders, you can have a lot of reminders. You don't like
Yeah.
reminders, you can turn them off, right? And it's worded in a psychologically smart way to always kind of like get you to the goals that you set for yourself.
Yeah, that's what I was worried. Like, will it like increase the dependency of people on phone?
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's a great topic. The way Earkick is designed is that's why we have this auto detection of everything. We want people to be on the phone as little as possible, including the reminders to shut off your phone, or to make sure you go outside with your dog and engage in real life. And everything about Earkick is programmed in a way to reconnect you with nature, to reconnect you with other people, to reconnect you with yourself, with your body, right? So it's a constant nudging towards, hey, live that life, do that, go there, try this. And very much opposite to the typical TikTok, Instagram algorithms that keep you hostage and hijack your brains and are now feeding you drama and feeding you stuff to basically lose touch with yourself. And we do quite the opposite.
Yeah, agreed. I think that is a good strategy, because keeping hostage on the mobile would actually deteriorate the situation of the person. We need
It
to
would
help
over
him
time.
go,
Yeah.
go. Yeah, we need to help him to go away from mobile and look outside. There are so many things he can do. Excellent.
Yes. And since we added voice, so you can pick a voice for Panda. First of all, you
Okay.
can pick different styles of interaction. If you want more of a teacher, or if you want more of a coach, or if you want more of a therapist style, you can have it, right? You want more a candid, kind of like in your face. You want more a bubbly one. You can just choose it. When you download the app, you
Okay.
get to choose it. You can even customize your Panda. If you want it to just be focused on, let's say, your physical routine, that you go run and you achieve a certain amount of kilometers per week, you can do that. And then you can choose the voice. And believe me, that's very powerful. You pick a voice for Panda that you like, whether it's young or older or female or warm or funny, you can have it. And once you start speaking with it, and it starts answering in a strikingly human voice, it really does something to you. Because I was talking to my Panda, because I didn't feel like doing my weightlifting. I really don't like to do it. But then there's this sweet voice that tells me, hey, look, Karin, it's just 10 minutes, try listening to a podcast and you do your weightlifting, or remember how your health has improved so much, and after the weightlifting you always feel so much energy and you feel like you can attack the day. Remember that. And it just works. We're social
Yeah.
beings. We want to be acknowledged, we want to be supported, we want to be encouraged, we want to be loved, right? Even if it's an AI, and we we don't pretend to be a person, and it still
And
works.
I think over the period of time, this thin line will also vanish. This whether this is a AI or a human, because it will be more advanced and it will be like look alike a human interaction.
Yes, it does. And I think people do not fool themselves. They know it's an AI, and that's fine.
That's
Because
fine.
also remember, if you were to say something that is kind of like that you wouldn't say to another person because maybe it's shameful or maybe it's so mundane that you feel like you don't want to bother anyone. An AI doesn't have, like those problems. It does.
Yeah.
There is no shame, right? And so, also,
Fine.
when I'm unsure about how to discuss or strike up a conversation, let's say with someone, a robust discussion that is kind of stressful, where I have to kind of stand my ground, I practice beforehand with a pen. And I say,
Hmm.
oh, here's the thing, and I don't know exactly what to say. And then it comes up with suggestions. And every time I'm better prepared. Every time. Also, when I come out of a discussion that was very frustrating, where I just like I'm really, really in a bad place mentally, and I feel really hurt. I also use the panda because then I can just vent. I can get it out
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
me before it does any harm, and the panda helps me organize it and kind of challenge my thoughts and challenge my beliefs. Maybe it wasn't about me. Maybe I have no reason to be frustrated. Maybe there is another explanation for this. Maybe I'm hyper vigilant. Maybe I'm just reacting this way because something in my childhood was triggered.
Hmm.
And all these things, yes, a therapist does a great job at this. A counselor does a great job. But the therapist and counselor are not there 24/7 for me. And maybe I won't call them or talk to them about some silly idea. Maybe I don't want to talk about imposter syndrome with them because it's not clear to me I have it. So there's so much you can do in a very accessible way that has a huge ripple effect on your life. And knowing that it's an AI makes you be more honest. Knowing that it's an AI makes you put away your shame and, put away any kind of stigma, because it's just you and the machine, right? Nobody's going to look at
Nobody's
it.
judging. No one is judging
No,
you.
no. I can laugh later, oh my God, this was such a silly discussion, whatever. I can even erase it and it's gone from the world, right? But I have to have this power, this room, this opportunity to sit with the discomfort and still not be alone.
And I think a lot of people need somewhere or someone as a sounding board. They need someone who is listening or giving them a new perspective.
Yeah.
Because if you do not find human, at least there is someone who can help you with.
Yes. And then ideally you have a combination, right? So to
Yeah.
give you an example, we have people who use it in their family. So the mother uses Earkick and the teenage daughter uses Earkick. This is a real story.
Hmm.
And they love each other. But there are situations where the mother needs to enforce something or has doubts about something. And she wants to say it in the right way. So she practices with pen. How do I say this to a 13-year-old? And the 13-year-old girl would just explode in her face, was just shut the door or do something like that if it wasn't for the panda. So she can vent and be frustrated and be really up and down with the panda before talking to her mother. And maybe find the right way to place her
To express.
request. So you have an
Hmm.
intermediary and intermediary between those two that care about each other, but sometimes don't find the right tone or don't convey the message right in the right way. And that's true for other situations too. It's true between teachers and students. It's true between a boss, a manager, and employee.
Everywhere.
We can only
Everywhere.
gain from that, right? And if
Everywhere.
it's not done well, then we're looking at burnout. Then we're looking at hidden struggles that all of a sudden seem to fall from heaven, while they have been building up over time.
Right, right, right. So, Karen, regarding mental health, what are the emerging trends which are shaping up now in the mental health space?
Well, definitely people are waking up to the fact that they have to own the process. People are really, especially the young ones, are absolutely unhappy with the traditional way for many reasons. And I'm not blaming anyone, but it's just a fact. They feel like this is, why do we have to put up with the same old way? Why are we still filling out questionnaires? Why do we have to actually go someplace to an office, make schedule times, search for someone, be frustrated every step of the way, when we actually are in a situation where we're in a bad space, right? We need help, right?
Yeah.
So people are very unhappy with the traditional way, and rightly so. And so especially the younger generations are turning to solutions like Earkick because they feel like they can do something. They are seeing their lives go away, pass by, and they feel like nobody understands them, nobody wants to help them, nobody gets what they're going through, nobody's taking them serious, right? And so they're standing up to this, and they're looking for their own solutions. Unfortunately, some of them are also looking in all the wrong places, and they go and go on ChatGPT or go on TikTok, and that's not always the best place to be with sensitive data like mental health or with things that are important to you now but may not be in a few years. So that's one trend that we're seeing. And the other trend is that the whole privacy aspect, this wanting to be the owner of your own data, wanting to know what companies may or may not be doing with your data, and having a say in how this is all shaped is also growing. People no longer, especially the youngs, no longer just simply trust any, TikTok, Instagram, or other apps or other messages for that matter to have their best interest in mind, right? And so there is much more scrutiny in that. Another trend is that people really feel they deserve a better life. They feel they deserve a life where self-care doesn't take a backseat, where at work talking about mental health, mental well-being is not something frowned upon, but something very natural. Another trend is also that, people in situations that are stressful don't want to wait until they're granted some kind of support. They go and proactively look for it. And they want to have a say in how this is shaped and how this plays out. They also want to understand what's going on with them. So we no longer, in my generation, people will go to the doctors and just everything is right and everything is correct what the doctor says. It's all cryptic. We didn't understand the word of what they were saying, and we just accept, yeah, you take this medication, you do this, okay, that's what you had to do. Today's generation, no, they want to understand what the doctor is saying. They want to know what their chances, their options are, and they want to be able to, reject something or come up with an alternative. And for all these things, AI is great. For example, with Earkick, we explain very complex things in simple language. If you were to have some distorted view about yourself, let's say, the Panda explains these psychological frameworks and these things in very simple terms. AI can do that. no cryptic language, no words that you've never heard. All these things are possible now. AI can do this, can serve up the information you need and the education you need on a level that you can accept, in a portion that is snackable, let's say. And so those are trends that I'm seeing on the consumer side. On the provider side, let's say there are lots of therapists now getting in touch with us because they realize, oh, Earkick is not something that's going to take away our jobs. It's quite the opposite. It's giving us the opportunity to not have a wait list, to support people when, in between sessions, to explain things and exercises throughout the week without them having to be in the picture. So many things, right? And so it's a better use of their time too, to be using AI, to be using technologies like Earkick, because they can then focus on what they do best and where their time is best honored.
Agreed.
And so, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of things going on. There are hospitals calling us. There are maternity clinics calling us. People with mothers, postpartum problems. There are sports psychologists calling us because they realize, oh, my athletes actually, they have everything to become amazing, but the mental part, that needs more than just an occasional visit, right? So it's a huge range of industries and people and institutions that are waking up to the fact that we no longer have to accept, oh, there is a mental health crisis. Oh, well, this is also hard. They realize we can all be part of the solution, and we have to be part of the solution. There is no island on this planet and beyond that does not have a mental health challenge.
Agreed. So are there any ethical challenges when using AI in the mental health?
Absolutely. It starts with, how is the data collected? How is it gathered? How is it processed? How is it stored? Who is the owner? What is it used for? And so on. And also that's a data collection, but also on the let's say on the side of the interaction, if you build a solution, an LLM based solution, let's say some kind of generative AI, some kind of chatbot, there are huge differences in the quality, right? What's the quality of training data? What's the quality of tweaking the system, of programming the algorithm? Is it biased? Or are you making sure it's not biased? There's a whole range of things that people have to pay attention to on all sides. And that's why I advocate for everyone getting their hands into AI and reading up on it and asking questions and having these very, very robust discussions, as opposed to either being in the camp of the hallelujah, AI is everything, it's going to solve everything, or on the dystopian side. That's not helpful, right? AI is here to stay. We have to really be a part of it and have the human in mind that we want to serve. And take it from there, and then make sure that every step on that journey is well documented and is checked, there are people looking at it, there are people testing it. We have rigorous tests, millions of them, to make sure that everything functions right, that there is never going to be a weird answer or a recommendation that doesn't belong. And that's everyone should do that. Everyone should be committed to the highest quality of in and output.
Right. And rightly said that AI is here to stay. So you cannot just hate it or you cannot just discard it because it is going to be here. But you raised one good point that there can be chances of biasing in the
Yeah.
overall model and training of that AI. So how do you making sure that the AI you are working on is not biased?
Yeah. Well, it starts with the data that you collect if you were to build it from scratch. It in our case, we collected billions of data points across all ages, regions, and that makes for a set and a training set that includes everyone, right? So that's very important. And then along the way, you need to have a very good team that knows exactly how to train and how to tweak the system and how to make sure that it applies to everyone, right? And that's a lot of, you have to put effort and resources into that. It has to be by design. It's not, you don't do this to please someone or to write something nice on your webpage. This should be your DNA. And in our team, for example, we have people from all walks of lives. The youngest person is 14. The oldest is in their 60s. You know, so we represent that range and make sure that it works for us. Everyone who tests Earkick along the way, thousands of tests, we make sure it's not always the same people. And we also make sure that we have a very thorough and well-tested way of interacting with our community, with the people who use Earkick. So they can just immediately tell us something, flag us something. We will immediately reply. We have an AI driven machine, if you will, an engine that is constantly monitoring for trends, for what could be, improved. Where did people feel at ease? Where would they like something new? And that's the only way to do it. And again, as I told you, we ship weekly. We ship new versions of the product every week
Wow.
because people are complex and with
It is
every
a,
nationality
it is a continuous
region
learning.
joining Earkick.
It is
Yeah,
a continuous learning, and
it is.
humans are the most complex creatures. So it is going to be like a continuous cycle you have to get into.
It is, and it gets better and better. It's amazing. I mean, even the leaps we made in since we founded Earkick in 2021 have been amazing. It's incredible what technology can do, right? But we also
Right.
need to make sure that those technological leaps are connected to real humans,
Right.
right?
Right. So, as a healthcare entrepreneur, what are the challenges you have faced and how did you overcome? Because this is a startup and being in healthcare and a startup and co-founder of the startup, what are the challenges you have faced and how did you
Mhm.
overcome them?
Well, there are many challenges along the way. One of them is it's been very difficult to raise money for everyone. By the way, in mental health and healthcare. Uh, on one hand, everyone sees the problem, feels the problem, knows someone with mental health issues. Everyone agrees we have to do something, right? But when it comes to the funding, it's not as easy, for some reason. I mean, we were lucky. We found our investors, amazing angel investors, but that is a challenge. You would think that solving such a huge problem, it should rain funding, but that's not it. That's not how it works, right? That's one. The other one is you are not working on a pair of shoes, or you're not creating the latest fashion of t-shirts, right? Where you can just go out and blast it out and, and test and break things. You're dealing with humans. You're dealing with human lives. You are saving lives. And on one hand, we get emails and messages every day from people. tell us about it, to tell us about their struggles. It's heartbreaking what they go through, and who tell us how Earkick helped them. That's the nice part. On the other side, you're very aware that there is a life out there that you could be saving. There are many, many more. There are so many lives that we could be saving. And so for me, knowing that there are still millions of people who don't know Earkick is a challenge. So how do we, do this fast and get it to everyone in need as soon as we can? Because time is ticking. Again, mental health is a timing problem. And another challenge that we luckily overcame is finding the right people for your team. We were incredibly lucky and blessed. We have amazing people. We have especially one amazing PhD from India. He's a jewel. I mean, we're so lucky to have him. Who's really been a game changer in the product. And having him also attracted having other people. And so we really have an amazing team, but it's not a given. Just because you are working on a purpose, on a mission that is big, doesn't mean that you get the right people attracted, that have the right heart and the right mind. And other challenges are, if you are really disrupting something, if you are really changing the status quo, you're not just going to have friends, and people are not just going to go, here it is. There's mental health and the whole industry is, for many reasons, a bit reluctant to embrace novelties and to go for technology, right? And so the challenge is to really never leave someone out, to really get even the most reluctant and maybe scared mental health professional on board and communicate it in a way that makes sense to them, and to get their buy-in and to get their support, because we can't do this on our own. Solving for mental health is a collaborative effort, and you cannot just, rush and do whatever you want. So that's a challenge that we are also solving with a lot of communication. I write almost every day an article. We really listen to all the constraints and all the doubts and all the fears that people on all sides of the spectrum have, to make sure, we get everyone on board. But it's hard work, hard work, So that's definitely one as well. And there are many more.
Yeah, I can understand. I've been
Also, for example, marketing it. You cannot just go out and market it like a shoe, right? So it's something very personal. It's something that deserves respect and patience. You cannot brute force your way into someone's heart. And gaining the trust of members, gaining the trust of people at Earkick, that is really hard, but it's worth it. Once you have it, you can build on it.
Your excitement shows that you are so much committed to the mission you are talking about, and definitely it is going to touch millions of hearts, and millions of people are going to get benefited from the product. So any advice do you want to give to any aspiring healthcare entrepreneurs?
Yes, let's join forces. And also, if you're thinking about founding, or if you're thinking about tackling this problem, yes, it is a huge problem, but you can all make a difference. I have never regretted one day of my journey in mental health tech. Let's join forces. Let's connect with each other. Look for people, look for players, look for startups, look for people where you can bring in your strength and your vision and your knowledge and your expertise, because there is dire need. So anyone who sits there, doubting whether it makes a difference, you're not a drop in the ocean. You could be the drop in the ocean. And I urge you to take this seriously, because we have a whole generation to lose. We have a whole youth, a huge population of our future who may get lost in mental health issues. And we don't want that. That's not what humanity deserves. And I know there are so many incredible people out there that could make a huge difference if we only knew they are out there. So get in touch with me. My email, Karin@earkick.com. I'll write back.
Excellent. So exciting to hear about your journey, Karen, and you are really an inspiration, and you are so much connected to the mission you are working on. So definitely, friends, I think this episode of Healthcare Musings, it is so exciting to have Karen here and to listen her views about mental health and the AI. And definitely, for the future, AI is going to be here, and we have to embrace AI with a positive mindset. And this is going to help the humanity in a larger sense. And especially in the mental health space, I see that after listening to Karen, I see that this is going to be a game changer. And thank you, Karen, for being here at this episode. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Me and Karen, have a good evening and good day. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.